You ever feel like you're stuck playing a character in your own life? Like you're putting on a show for the world, pretending you're okay, pretending you're confident, pretending you have it all figured out, when in reality, you're barely holding it together? The gap between who you are and who you pretend to be. That's why you're exhausted. Yeah, I said it, because I lived it. And if you're still watching, I think some part of you knows this is your truth too. I was the guy who looked like he had it all together. At work, I was charismatic, efficient, ambitious. My friends thought I was a go-getter, the motivated one, the one who always seemed 2 steps ahead. My social media? Perfect. Clean grid. Highlight reels of gym sessions, quotes about growth, books on success, perfectly crafted stories of self-improvement. But behind closed doors, it was a different story. I was the guy who stayed up till 3 a.m. paralyzed by anxiety. I was the one who gave advice to everyone else but couldn't apply it to my own life. I'd scroll for hours, motivational speeches, millionaires telling me to just grind, influencers preaching mindset hacks, and then I'd roll over and feel even more broken, because deep down I felt like a fraud. The person I was showing the world wasn't the person I truly was. I didn't have my life together. I wasn't as confident as I looked. I was scared of failing, scared of trying and still not being good enough, scared of being seen, really seen. But here's the thing. When you spend every day pretending to be someone you're not, it drains you, not just mentally, not just emotionally. It drains your soul. I felt tired all the time, and I kept telling myself it was just burnout or poor sleep, but it wasn't. It was the weight of living a lie. And yet I kept going, because I was more afraid of being seen as a failure than actually becoming one. So I faked it. I showed up with a mask. I said what people wanted to hear. I acted like I had direction. But deep down, I was drifting, insecure, uncertain, and on the edge of giving up. And this is where it gets dangerous. When you pretend long enough, you start to forget who you really are. You lose your voice, your desires, your identity. You become a hollow version of yourself, functioning on autopilot, disconnected from your purpose. I started avoiding mirrors, because every time I looked into one, I didn't recognize the person staring back. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't unmotivated. I was simply lost, living a life that looked like success on the outside, but felt like survival on the inside. And maybe that's you too. Maybe you're doing all the right things. Maybe you're checking the boxes, playing the part, but you still feel empty, still feel stuck, still feel like you're trying to become a version of yourself that you admire, but haven't earned yet. The question is, what happens when pretending isn't enough anymore? Here's something wild. When I started to let my guard down, even just slightly, the world didn't collapse like I thought it would. A friend saw me struggling and said, "Dude, I've been going through the same thing." I was shocked. Wait, what? Turns out, vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the bridge between pretending and becoming. And most people are faking it just like you are. I remember the night everything cracked. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. I was lying on the couch, lights off, phone screen glowing in my face, just scrolling, swiping through other people's highlight reels again. People my age building businesses, traveling the world, living their dreams. And me? I felt like I couldn't even get up. I wasn't even tired from working. I was tired from thinking about working, from overthinking everything, from comparing, from hiding. My chest was heavy. My mind was racing. But outside, stillness. And then came the silence, not the peaceful kind. The kind that creeps in when you realize you're not living up to your own expectations. That kind of silence isn't calm. It's brutal, because in that silence, the inner critic gets loud. You'll never be enough. You're all talk. They're winning because they actually work. You just scroll. And the scariest part? A part of me believed it. I started to feel like I was permanently broken, like something inside me was missing, some gene for motivation or resilience that everyone else had, but I didn't. I hated how easily other people seemed to rise. I hated how effortless it looked. I hated how stuck I felt. And the more I hated, the more I hid. I started isolating, canceling plans, ghosting friends, avoiding conversations. Because when you're ashamed of where you are in life, the last thing you want is to talk about it. But silence doesn't heal shame. It feeds it. And every day I waited, the critic inside me grew stronger, more vicious, more convincing. Until one day I realized that voice wasn't just noise anymore. It was running my life. And that scared me. Because if I didn't fight back, I was going to lose myself. Funny thing is, it wasn't motivation that saved me. It was anger. I got mad at how small I had let myself become. I got tired of feeling tired, tired of feeling behind, tired of pretending. That rage, it woke me up. Here's the part they don't glamorize. Changing your life doesn't feel like fireworks. It feels like making a choice. A quiet, scary, lonely choice to stop performing and start building. That next morning, I didn't suddenly become a beast, but I made one promise. No more lying to myself. No more pretending to be on track when I wasn't even moving. No more talking about goals I didn't have the discipline to chase. No more acting like the person I wanted to be, unless I was ready to do the work to become him. So I started small. I read for 10 minutes a day, even when it bored me. I showed up to the gym, even when I hated my reflection. I spoke affirmations that felt like lies, until they didn't. I cut distractions, even when it meant deleting apps that numbed me. I stopped performing and started practicing every single day. And it was ugly, clumsy, inconsistent, but it was real. And something crazy started happening. With every small action, the gap between who I was and who I pretended to be started to close. Because here's the truth. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need to be confident to start. You just need to be consistent. Consistency builds identity, and identity builds legacy. I stopped chasing confidence and started chasing evidence. Proof that I was becoming a man I kept pretending to be. And eventually, I didn't have to pretend anymore, because I became him. Not overnight, not effortlessly, but through decisions no one applauded and sacrifices no one saw. And if you're still watching this, that means you feel it too. That gap, that exhaustion, that urge to stop pretending. So do it. Stop waiting. Stop performing. Start building. Because the version of you that you admire, he's not fake. He's just unfinished. And it's time to finish the work. My name is Jordan Hale. And this is the day I stopped pretending and started living. If you're still stuck in silence, if your dreams feel distant and your voice feels small, then you need to hear the story. The world ignored him, called him quiet, weak, invisible, but what he built in silence shook the world. Watch next. The quiet kid who changed the world motivational story of silent genius. Because sometimes the ones no one sees coming are the ones who change everything.